So we are at the end of week 2. Yay. You're still living. Ha ha ha. All right. And just as a reminder, we are today's April 16. What is that? April 16, and your expository writing project is due April 30th. Here are some of the guidelines and some samples if you want to look at those. When you have time, make sure you're working on it, because today you will have homework, and hopefully I'm not piling on so many things, but yeah. Just wanted to look into the question that you guys turned in. There's about 8 of you who have not completed it, and that's Taylor, Sophia, Carnado, Elijah, Mariah, David, Haley, and Victor. Maybe you forgot, didn't do it, whatever the reason may be. Just make sure that you do it, because I am grading and I don't want to put a 0 on those. So just make sure that your name is in on the turned in column. So let's start with, let me go to our class plans. We are here. So today we're going to debrief the question. So why do people wear masks to hide their identity? So just want to pick a few people to kind of begin a discussion on that. We're not going to begin reading Othello for sure. We're going to continue our lit analysis and tragedy overview, where you're going to take notes. Maybe we'll begin reading Othello, just not sure yet. But for sure, you'll have homework today. And of course, your Khan Academy SAT practice, if you haven't been doing it, it is due on Monday. So just kind of have that not Monday, I'm sorry, Tuesday of next week. All right, so let's begin with debriefing the question. And the question was, why do people wear masks that hide their true identity or their true personality? So if you want to chime in, go ahead and raise your hand electronically so I can see you, or just unmute yourself and begin the conversation. So what did you respond? Why do people, oh, look at that cute little kid. No volunteers? Okay, then I'll volunteer you. Oh, let me hear from Charlie. Hi, Charlie. What did you answer, honey? Charlie. Okay. I think Charlie's isn't working. Let me hear from Jalea, then Lillian. There's Victor.
Well, I sent it in the chat because I don't really know how my connection. Can you guys hear me right now?
I can hear you, but I saw it on the chat. So go ahead, Jalea.
Yeah, so people, they tend to mask themselves to achieve something, like either it's hiding self or trying to get a job.
Okay, yeah. So maybe have a goal in mind, so they try to hide their identities. Let me hear from Noelani. What did you say in your answer, hon?
I said that a lot of people hide things that they're scared of letting other people know about. And that's basically what I said. Like, people can have malicious intent behind the reason why they're hiding something, or they can just genuinely be, worried that people are going to judge them or push them away or just look at them differently.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Very good. Let me hear from, let's see, Wes. Go ahead, Wesley. What did you answer? So why do people wear masks? To hide their identity or personality? I don't know if you can hear me. There it is. Okay. I can hear you.
Okay. I kind of said they wear masks. It kind of like maybe they're like someone at school that is like perfect in a way. And they have to put that mask on to stay that perfect because maybe like something bad happened or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
so
maybe to
keep their personality perfect
Yeah.
or something.
There you go. So maybe to keep an image of themselves so that no one else sees it. And of course, it's not always perfect. I think it happens a lot with our social media use and how people portray themselves in it. Maybe having a perfect life, but that's not always the reality. All right, let me hear from the ladies up here. That one girl with the bird on her shoulder. Go ahead.
They may have conformed to certain societal expectations, or they have toned down their beliefs and their ideals to be more palatable to those around them for the sake of not constantly getting berated with criticism and being able to move through life relatively unhindered. So they may put on a sort of mask that makes them more appealing to other people when that's not actually who they are or what they believe, but they just don't want to get in a fight right now.
Okay. Yeah, that works. And last two, Jillian and Jessica. Go ahead, Jillian.
Okay, I don't really remember what I said.
Me either. Where are you? There you are. Okay. It's right there.
Okay. So, obviously the fear of being judged.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people, I mean, no one wants to be judged, you know, and everyone's afraid that other people are gonna think that they're, I don't know, weird or whatever about if they show their true self or, you know, any of that. Yeah, I don't know, maybe they're trying to fit in because they don't think that who they are is good enough.
Yeah. There you go. So feeling scared of being judged, scared of showing really who they are and maybe not being accepted. And then lastly, Miss Jessica Buchan. There she is. Good morning.
So I pretty much said it just gives people the excuse to be bad people.
Okay.
So it kind of allows them to have the feeling they won't get caught. And so it gives them a reason to basically do bad things.
Okay. So you think it's more on the bad side of people and that's why they hide their true identities and wear masks. Yeah. I mean, I guess in a general sense. Go ahead.
It's just another thing. I was trying to say something that pretty much no one else was going to kind of touch on. I mean, other people did, but most of the other ideas were taken. So, I mean, it's just another reason why people may wear masks.
Yeah, of course. And I feel like for the most part, if you're or I'm wearing a mask to cover something, maybe I don't feel too proud to show it. You know, maybe it's not that I committed a crime, killed somebody or whatever, but it is something that I'm embarrassed to show or that I don't want anybody else to know. And so you kind of have those masks to hide your identity or some parts of your identity. Well, the reason why I decided to pose this question is because in Othello, we're going to be coming up a lot that this idea of masking one's true identity is going to be coming a lot. So I wanted to kind of spark a bit of discussion on these ideas that even though come from a play that was written hundreds and hundreds of years ago, they're still relevant into our lives. They're still relevant to you, to me, who I'm an adult. They're still out there. And, you know, I feel like for the remaining course of humanity, we're still going to have that. So it's not something that's going away. All right. So thank you all. I'm going to stop debriefing the question there because we need to move on. But I'm going to go to our lit analysis PowerPoint so I can do some more explanation of the first stuff, some of the characters. So I'll give a quick review. This was Shakespeare. Last class, let me move you guys' stuff over here. There you go. So this was last class. You should have gotten these notes. He was pretty much living for playwriting and the theater. And you could notice that 3 years after he retires, he loses his life, he dies. And so he was very invested in this. And I feel like one of the biggest reasons why Shakespeare was so invested in playing was because his plays weren't just there to entertain. They were really a criticism to social life, to society during his time, mostly Elizabethan culture. So a lot of his plays were not just there to entertain. Of course, yes, he entertained. They were funny at times. The dramas were suspenseful, etc. But his main goal was to criticize. He wanted to show an aspect of human beings that most people did not dare to show or did not dare to speak about. And so that's one of the reasons why he's so relevant today, why his writing is so powerful, because he wasn't just an entertainer, he was a social critic. So we move on. This was the Old Globe, and we did say that that social classes kind of got together in this entertainment space. Here you have the lower of the class, and then the higher up in the theater meant you were in a high class, middle class, maybe you're still in the low class up here. But if you could afford a seat, that meant you had some money, you had some resources. And so, but this was a point of reunion where the whole community would come in regardless of the class. And while there was divisions, all these spectators were watching something unique, and they were watching something at the same time. So it almost leveled the differences between them at this point. And so the theater during Shakespeare time was not something like today. The theater today is kind of out there, no one really sees it, not the whole community is not interested in it. But at this time, this was the main center of attraction, this was the main center of entertainment. And so Shakespeare really took advantage of doing plays that touched every level of society. And through Othello, you'll see that that is also true. And we come to the Elizabethan culture, which was pretty much male dominant. Women didn't have much of a role but to bear children, care for husbands, and die. That was it. Not much more. For the ones who did have money, they were expected to marry right away. And often widows and rich women who were single were seen as witches or somehow immoral in some way because they were independent. So there was a negative connotation when it came to women who were single and rich, or even widows who were not remarried. So being married for a woman was probably the one goal that they had in their lives. And they married young. In fact, I believe Shakespeare's wife was 14 when they married. So most girls at the time had the goal of marrying. And those who were past 25, they were considered left out. Like they didn't have that many prospects anymore. So obviously times have changed. Now women want to have a career and they don't want to marry. And then also another historical context is the Renaissance. And we said that the Renaissance was super, super important during this time because there's this renewed interest in humanism. What is it like to be a human flaws, especially with Shakespeare, he was so interested in learning about the bad in human beings, the jealousy and envy and all the things that a lot of people sought to hide from society. So he wanted to expose those. Okay, and then we went over those. Here are your essential questions. Look at the fact that they do have perception and reality and appearance. These three words are essential to our unit. We're going to be talking about personas and how there's a public and a private self and social status, classes, the difference in classes. We're going to be looking at that. So kind of brace for that. Those are your essential questions. And here's Othello. And I know his sword